For a more in-depth look at the Senate race and more in Texas politics, we're joined again this Monday by analyst and publisher of the Quorum Report, Harvey Kronberg. Harvey, as we just said, Paxton is meeting with Republican Majority Leader John Thune this week. How easy or difficult is it going to be for him to get the Senate leaders' full support?
Well, he's essentially just a placeholder. It's irrelevant how they feel about him. They just need 51. Anything that they need to do to sustain or maintain 51, they will do. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of dirty laundry, and they're going to have to live with it, but that's just the reality.
But we've seen the NRSC go after Paxton so much. We saw reporting that showed that they are wiping some of the negative posts that they had made about him on social media. But is it just going to be, this is politics, we got to stick with our guy because we got to keep the majority, as you said?
That's absolutely the case, and they can't sanitize history. Essentially, we've spent, John Cornyn spent, I don't know, $100 million creating Paxton brand. That's now a well-established brand inside Texas. I suspect that no matter how they try and sanitize it, once you get past the Republican primary voters, it's going to be a serious uphill challenge.
Now, on Fox News yesterday, Paxton said that when it comes to all these accusations that have been made against him, none of them have actually been proven, and he compared his plight to that of the president. Take a listen to the clip.
But the reality is they could say the same thing about Donald Trump. When you're fighting the fight, unfortunately, you get attacked. And you have to defend yourself. And when you do that and they're not successful, they still accuse you of things. Accusations don't mean that the thing actually happened. They have to prove these things in our country. That they did not do with President Trump, and that they did not do with me. And yet they continue to act like something bad happened when they have no proof of it.
So Harvey, we in Texas, of course, have known about this and have covered it for many years. But is that argument that the Attorney General is making, is that going to play with Cornyn voters, with independent voters, when they decide who to cast their vote for in November?
It may play with historical Republican voters. It's not going to play with independent voters. And comparing yourself to a president with 35% approval, even in the state of Texas, I don't think is a winning strategy. Yeah. And he's not correct. Just because he was never formally convicted does not mean that the proof had not been presented, and that it's in the mainstream, it's in the conversation, it's not going away.
Okay, now on Meet the Press yesterday, former Vice President Mike Pence wouldn't commit to endorsing Paxton. He kind of danced around it. Does that have any impact on how Texas Republicans view Paxton and whether they'll pull the lever for him in November?
Well, Mike Pence is an honorable man, but he's yesterday's story. He's not really in the conversation per se anymore. I think what John Cornyn does over the course of the next 3 or 4 months is going to be far more consequential than anything anybody outside the state does.
And what do you think he will do?
I am not yet advised.
Okay. Now,
I don't think he's going to be offering full-throated endorsements.
Well, we saw some of his social media posts that were a bit cryptic, and we talked about that on the show. But let me ask you about this, because Governor Abbott says there won't be a problem funding or fundraising for Attorney General Paxton, saying, hey, the money is not the problem. But with how much money James Tallarico is raising, is that really true?
Well, most estimates are that Paxton's going to probably have to spend $100 million in Texas, or people on his behalf. I don't think the Republicans are going to lack for money, and I know that Greg Abbott's single greatest talent is fundraising. When he calls and puts the squeeze is on and the money shows up. So money's not going to be the issue. It's the message that's ultimately going to be the issue, yep, and how Tallarico responds.
Now, Harvey, we've got about a minute left, but I want to ask you about this move by the state Democratic chair, Kendall Scudder, calling for Democrats to abandon House Speaker Dustin Burrows, a Republican, of course, when he comes up for re-election for the gavel. What's the strategy here with that move?
Well, essentially, it plays back to Tom Craddock in 2009. We're going to have a much closer House this next time. Most people think it's going to be 78, 72. The then caucus chair, Jim Dunham of the Democratic caucus, said, well, we can give you 56 votes, but it's got to be anybody but Craddock. And it proved to be consequential in that speaker race.
The strategy the move here that's being done here.
Exactly.
Interesting. All right, that's our Harvey Kronberg. Thank you so much for your analysis.
My pleasure.